So we're here with the guy who makes it all happen, pretty much the guy who can make or break this place. Andrew Perlmutter, CEO of Funko. What's it like being the CEO of one of the biggest companies in the world that everyone loves? It's not a company that people view as an evil corporation.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope not. How does it feel to be the CEO of this company? It's great, right? I mean, it's a dream come true. The whole, just being associated with the Funko brand, which has been such a special, brand for so many people for so long. I've been a part of the company for a long time, and it's just as much a part of my life as it is what I do. So most people at Funko would probably answer the question in a similar way, to say, like, it's not really a job at Funko, right? It's part of your identity and who you are. And so it's pretty special. I don't know if a lot of people can say that about their work.
You guys have come so far from the days of when this was just like a bobblehead company. And I discovered you guys, I think it was like 2009. I just happened to be in the bookstore, and I'm a big Simpsons fan, and I see these Simpsons figures. I'm like, I've never seen these before.
Yeah.
And it was like one of the earliest versions of Funko Pop that you put out.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, these are great.
What kind of a bookstore were you in? Do you remember?
I was at Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, so I probably sold them that item. Because that's what, back then, I think it was like 2009, 2010, somewhere around there. That's how I got to know Funko. I was a sales rep, and I was selling Funko, Barnes & Noble. And I saw Funko, and I was like, whatever I could do to get involved with this company, I want to get involved. I love it.
Right.
And so I was selling Barnes & Noble at that time.
So I saw these figures. I was like, this is a good, reasonable price. I was like, all right, cool, grab them. And I'm like, I just have them on display on my shelf. And then a couple years go by, and then Funko Pop, the figures, became huge. Like, people were becoming obsessed with this stuff. They're like, I haven't seen something like this before. And they're getting all these crazy licenses that people wouldn't think that anyone would care about anymore. Right. Like old Hanna-Barbera cartoon figures and things like that. And it just started blowing up, and I'm like, oh my God, I accidentally got in sort of on the ground floor with this, and I'm really happy to be a part of this. And then we worked it into the show. Every time we had guests coming on the show, I tried to find their Funko Pop, or I had connections at the time with you guys. It's like, hey, do you guys have this in a warehouse somewhere? They're coming in. I'll get one signed for you guys if we can do it on Sirius, do it on iHeart. And it sort of became just part of my show, where I always had their pop. They'd walk in, they'd see it, and it kind of diffused them. They're not in interview mode anymore. They come in and they're already talking, and they're like, when do we start the interview? I'm like, we've been going for 5 minutes. This is all part of it.
Yeah, well,
and they love it.
That speaks to your skills as an interviewer as well.
No, I think it's just...
People like me appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, but I think it's more of the, like, oh my God, a toy. Everyone, who doesn't like a toy? And one of the other cool things is that they've been able to, I've had guests where they've seen their product for the first time.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart being one of them made a lot of news for my show, that he saw his bunny figure from Pets Life.
Yeah.
And he's like, I hadn't seen this before, and he put it on his Snapchat, he put it on, and then because he's Kevin Hart, it goes all over the place.
Exactly.
I'm spacing on her name, but the girl from Orphan Black, who's now She-Hulk.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
And she saw her Orphan Black figure for the first time, and she freaked out about it, and she thought it was pretty cool. And it's just amazing how it's transcended being a collector's item. It's in the lexicon of everything now, because it used to be, and I used to talk to some of your old creative guys, that they would leak sketches to try to put pressure on certain companies to, like, hey, maybe let's work the license deal so we can get this going, and it would work.
I don't know anything about that.
Nope.
Never heard of that
way
before,
below
but,
way below
I'll take your word
one.
for it. Yeah.
But then it got to the point where people are like, well, how do I get to be a Funko Pop? And like, they're coming to you. Companies, celebrities, athletes, musicians are like, what do we need to do to get you to make something of us?
Yeah, it's like a platform. It is and you're right. It's funny to talk about it this way, but like, the people in the inner circle get how magical this is.
Right.
And then when you get outside of the circle, people still are kind of like, I don't know. I don't even know what Funko is. I don't know what pop vinyl is. So I think that's the opportunity for us, right? Like, we have work to do to continue to grow this thing so that it really continues to saturate, because when people are introduced to it, right, and they're not a collector, but they do like whatever it is that they're interested in. So, for example, Golden Girls is an easy example.
Of course.
Everyone's seen it. They know it. Either their parents
People have it on their desks in their office.
Yeah. And talk about I don't collect. I'm not a collector. If somebody's not a collector, they don't collect. But they're like, oh, I got to have that. And then they got to have the other ones in the series.
Yeah.
Now they're enthusiasts, right?
Yeah, current day like The Office. Like characters from The Office, the Kelly figure that there's selling right here. Again, these are people that just have it in their office or have it in their home on their bookcase. Not really collectors, just casual fans of. They're the ones that stream that show all the time, and they're like, "Oh my God, there's a figure. I'd like to have that figure at my house."
And then they put it on their house, or they put it on their desk, and people walk by like, "Oh, you like The Office too?" And it opens up. It's a major way. I love it. I love the fact that our community is so strong, and I believe that it's strong because people are finding connections with each other through pop culture. It's hard to walk up to somebody you don't know and start a conversation with them. But if you see something on their desk, like an Office Pop or whatever it is,
you look at it.
You stop, you look at it, it allows you to talk to them about it. And it's a complete neutralizer of any social awkwardness that may exist. And next thing you know, you probably are going to become friends with this person.
You guys really did a fantastic job. I don't know if you guys had this game plan like Marvel, you planned it out 10 years, you knew where you were going with this, or it just grew into something amazing. But like I said earlier, you reversed that whole process of where companies have to go out with their ideas of trying to establish a license with a product, with a company, with a public figure. And you've totally reversed it where they're coming to you. And you're like, well, we can't get to that yet, or maybe we're looking at maybe for next year to get to this because we have too much on our plate. Everybody wants to be involved, and that's something that every company would kill for, and you guys have it.
We hope, or I hope, I'll speak for myself, I hope that that's a indication of a company that's fun to work with, right? We try to be great partners. We try to, over-deliver on what we say we're going to do. We're a growth company, so we have a lot of growing pains, as our fans know, as our retail partners know. When you're growing at the rate that we're growing, there are areas that you can improve on, right? But the one thing that we really pride ourselves on is being great partners to our licensing community, and then obviously first and foremost to our fans.
You've also figured out what a lot of companies also haven't figured out is that you've perpetually can't go wrong in the sense of there's always a new product coming out because there's a new show, a new movie, a new trend, a new rising star in some field where you're perpetually building new product and new Funko ideas and new stuff in there. You don't run out of licensing because new stuff is always coming around.
Right.
And then digging through archives and like, hey, this might become public domain, or hey, these are some old things that we could get this license and we can start putting out stuff. Like, who thought to put out like a Kraft macaroni and cheese box as a pop, or a Big Bob's Big Boy, White Castle, the food line, the mascot, stuff like that.
But who hasn't had a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese, right?
Right.
When I was a kid, that was a staple. Unfortunately, it's still a staple for my kids.
Yeah.
They eat it way too often.
It's still a staple for parents because they don't finish the chicken nuggets, and then you wind up eating that and the mac and cheese.
And they're going to grow up, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, we used to eat mac and cheese all the time. It's delicious.
Yeah.
They love it, right? And that's the nostalgia that, we've got the Polaroid.
Saw that,
here,
the Rubik's Cube.
The Rubik's Cube. These are just nostalgia that bring you back to a time when you were, younger, you were interested in whatever it is you were interested in, whether it's Star Wars or Marvel or, Disney or Harry Potter or Batman, whatever it is, right? These transport you back there, and they make other people aware of what it is that makes you so interesting. Yeah.
You guys, like I said, you got it all figured out because you can put out a brand new version of Snagglepuss, like a flocked Snagglepuss, and then you can put out something current like a new Baby Yoda or something from Andor that just came out for Star Wars, and people are going to be going crazy for this old license and the new license.
100%. And some people will like both, and some people, may not be interested in a TV show, but they love the nostalgia, and some people aren't collectors, but they buy one pop because they love Golden Girls or whatever. And that's the beauty of Funko, right? Like that is what we deliver, which is something for everyone. right?
It's not just the pops, it's the shirts. You know, people love the shirts.
I love the
Christmas,
shirts, yeah.
The Christmas ornaments. You guys just started putting out the big oversized Halloween masks.
Yeah.
And I gotta give you guys so much credit for giving the feeling of those old 80s masks that kids hated, like when I grew up. Because it was the eye holes and the nose holes were not cut right. It was cutting your face, and you had the rubber band, like it was the old paddle and ball rubber band, stapled to the side. So it's, you know, cutting off your ears, stabbing you with the staple.
Extremely uncomfortable.
Right, but you figured out, it's like, let's make it like that, but make it functional.
So we partnered up with Disguise, which is a Halloween mask company. And we outsourced that again, right? Like we probably would have done the retro, masks that had staples in it were uncomfortable, but we decided to partner up with Disguise on that, and they've done a wonderful job, right? I mean, now because Halloween's right around the corner, if you go into Walmart or Target, you see end caps of Funko Pop Halloween masks. And my kids are like, what are you going to be for Halloween? And I pull out the Pennywise mask. I was like, here it is. Because guess what? I'm not going to put on makeup.
Nope.
I don't have time, unfortunately, to really spend
It's easy
time
enough
shopping.
to put on. It's recognizable, and when you want to take it off, it's easy to take off.
Hey, that's what I do for a living. So it's the best and easiest costume. It's the perfect Halloween costume for an adult who is nostalgic and or loves pop culture.
Now, see, it's one thing to wear it for Halloween, but it's another thing when you wear it into a board meeting, and it's still totally acceptable.
Absolutely.
It's like, look what we're doing this year. It's like, that's the CEO of our company, and he should be doing this.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that.
We were running out of time with you. I got to just say, the big layout here, this kind of Haunted Mansion-esque display here on the floor is fantastic. A lot of moving parts, lots to see. Every time you think you've seen something, you look somewhere over the wall, it's almost like a hidden Mickey. Like, oh, I didn't see that design there before.
There's a lot of gems up there hidden. And
it looks.
The team did an over-the-top job. I am always in awe of the execution that our team does, whether it's in product or events or social media. You see the love that they have for the brand and for the fan in this execution.
I'm getting the wrap-up sign. I'm sorry, not ignoring you, but your assistant there is like, he's busy, he's got to go, and you are a busy guy. You got shopping to do on the floor here. I know, it's Comic-Con. Got to go out there, see what else is out there. And look, when do I ever get a chance to bend the ear of the CEO of the company? What's it going to take for me to leave my job to start Funko Radio for you guys?
I love that idea. It's a great idea. Let's talk.
All right, let's talk. We're ending this now. I'm going to get a new job. Thank you very much.